Hello everybody, it's Jamie and welcome back to a long overdue video again of a what if. Now in this what if we shall talk about what if the HMT Olympic was sunk during World War I by the U-boat U-103. Now what basically these what ifs are is that we shall be talking about some historical happenings and we shall change them a little bit. Now I've made this script with my opinion, what I think would have happened if the Olympic sank. Now if you guys have some theories of what could have happened after she was sunk, then let me know in the comments. But yeah, let's begin. Now there's no need to explain the Olympic, as everyone knows who she is. But if by chance you don't know who the Olympic is, she was owned by the White Star Line and she was the sister ship of the ill-fated Titanic and the ill-fated Britannic. Now in real life the Olympic was requisitioned by the British Admiralty in May 1915 and she was used as a troop ship. Now on 12 May 1918, while en route to France, the crew had spotted and would attack a German U-boat. And basically they would ram the submarine, sinking it. Now going on to a different history. What if the submarine had gotten away? Now the submarine's batteries had gotten back online, in time for them to crash dive just underneath the Olympic. And the crew of the U-boat began reloading the torpedo tubes. SMU-103 would turn back and would fire 2 torpedoes at the liner, and both successfully damaged the ship. The torpedoes had damaged the engine room, which would cripple the liner from further movement. But thanks to war protocol, the watertight doors were closed before the attack started. However, the commander of the U-boat realized that the Olympic wasn't sinking and so fired 1 more torpedo into the hull, which would be the final blow. The ship would take on a heavy list and, just like her sister ship the Titanic, she would sink by the bow. The crew of U-103 would flee the scene before British ships would come to aid the survivors. The U-boat would report large transport sunk, suspected to be the Olympic. Now what would this mean for the IMMC and the White Star Line? Well, once the war concluded, the White Star Line had lost a large majority of their fleet and would start operating cargo ships to fill in the lost profits and the loss of ships. By the 1920s, the White Star had limited their passenger services and focused on their cargo fleet. But the company was awarded with German liners, the SS Bismarck, who would later be the RMS Majestic, and the SS Columbus, who would later be the RMS Homeric. And they would fill in the place for the Olympic and others. But the White Star were less effective on the transatlantic service. In 1925, the decision was made to order a new flagship for the line, a modern ship for the 20s, and would base the ship off the late Olympic. And the ship would be launched by the late 20s. Now this raised a lot of hate against the White Star Line, and the public didn't welcome the ship. And the rumors started that the Titanic curse would sink this ship too. And less than a year later, the liner would be reconstructed, fitting into the modern era and looking less like the Olympic. The public still were hesitant, but over the course of the 1930s, the ship would prove successful. By the time World War II started, the ship would be requisitioned by the Admiralty again, and would luckily not suffer the fate of the Olympic class. Now the ship's popularity would slowly shrink. In the late 50s the ship was laid up and awaiting a future, but eventually it was decided to sell the ship for scrap in the early 60s. So I even have a other timeline, so let's begin with that. When the war came to a close, the White Star Line was devastated and started using any small passenger liner as cargo liners. They began building a small class of 6000T cargo ships in order to fill in the loss of ships from the war. The White Star Line would build their first passenger liner since the war in the late 20s, and them turning out as a success, and they would go on to compete with the Germans Europa and Bremen and the Italians Rex and Conte di Savoia. Despite the Great Depression, the White Star's cargo fleet continued to thrive. They ordered a new superliner from Holland and Wolff. This would be the Oceanic. Now in the mid-30s, the White Star merged with the Cunard in the White Star's favor, becoming the White Star Cunard Line. By 1937, superliners of White Star Cunard were the talk of the world. When it came to World War II, it treated the White Star fleet better than World War I, and the major ships of the line would go on to serve till the late 60s, and the Cunard Line would part ways with the White Star. White Star's fleet would continue to grow, and they purchased other smaller European lines and would start to shift towards merchant shipping until the mid-19s, when the company went bankrupt. And that, my friends, is the end again of a video and the end of a what if. Now I have two questions. Did you like the first paragraph of the new timeline, or did you like the second paragraph of the new timeline? Let me know in the comments. And also with the first paragraph that I wrote, there was a new ship, but I didn't give it a name. So I want you guys in the comments to name the ship of the first paragraph that I did. Again, with the script, this is my opinion. If you have another opinion or another theory, please leave it also down in the description. I would love to hear your ideas of what would have happened if the Olympics sank during World War I. Now, I quickly want to thank you all for the response on the Van Imhoff animation video. There were some really great comments, and I'm extremely grateful for that. So I thank you for that. And I also want to thank you guys who have subscribed recently. That also means very much to me. That you guys like my content, it still blows my mind. Now, of course, we are now trying to reach the 600 subscribers, and I know it, my friends, that we can do that together. Now, also please leave in the comments what you thought of this video, because I love reading them, honestly. So with that long outro out of the way, guys, I wish you a good night or day wherever you are, and we will see each other on the next one. Bye bye.